Hi book besties, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are seeing my face for the first time, hi, my name is Maya and I like to talk about books here on the internet. And we are starting Realmathon week 3 in this video. However, I am not spinning the wheel today. I know, sacrilegious, right? Because I am currently in the 48-hour Gala of Peace situation that is going on, which is a 48-hour readathon. Within the readathon, in this Gala of Peace, we get 10 extra bonus points for the books that we read. So yeah, I'm planning on reading some books. Also, if you guys are seeing this video for the first time and have no clue what Realmathon is, it is a team-based readathon where 4 families are trying to take total control of Carry On City. And this readathon is hosted by the amazing, lovely, beautiful Covers with Cassidy. So definitely go and check her out. I will leave all of the information, the original video, her channel linked in the description box down below. Seriously, go check it out. Go over there. You don't even have to come back. Also, I am Team Raven, and I gotta shout out my team leads, Books with Lexi and Leandra, the TBR0. I will leave their channels linked down below as well. I have been linking them, all of them, in every single video, even the ones that do not pertain to Realmathon whatsoever. Like, I realized, I was like, in the month of March, every single video is going to be shouting them out. Why? Because I love them, and I love binging their content, and I really love this readathon, and I want everyone to participate in it, and I want everyone to be on Team Raven. But let's get into some of the books that I am hoping to read for this 48-hour readathon. And also, I need to update you guys on what I read yesterday, because I said when I ended the vlog, and I gave you guys the stats, but who really looks at a screen with words? I actually do. I gave the reading stats that I had 0 pages. However, I did read after that, which will show up in the stats in the little graphic at the very end. But I read a little bit more on Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and I read a little bit more on Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend, which is the second book in the Nevermore series, and then Scythe is the first in a trilogy that also has a 4th book within the series now, I think, but I don't know if it's like its own standalone outside of the trilogy to explain the world that we're in. I have no idea, so I'm not even going to try and attempt to explain that to myself this early in the morning. So the little mini TBR that we got going on here is this, and they are in the order that I hope to complete them. So Scythe by Neil Shusterman, I have about 200 or so pages left, and this is gonna be nothing. I'm gonna finish it by the end of the day. Actually, that is my plan, to finish off last week's reading vlog and get it uploaded for today, do all of the promo-y things, and seriously just focus on reading this book. Even though I have a vlog that I'm going to be posting on my lifestyle channel tomorrow, I literally I'm just going to be focusing on this, reading this first, and then I'm going to start editing on that. So extra motivation to finish this. Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. My only thing is that I love this book so much and I want to sit with it and I don't want to like rush through it, which brings me to the book that I didn't even start but think I will progress really well and really fast in. 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Let me update you guys on the actual reading of the books. So for Scythe, I kind of gave all of my thoughts in the past couple of vlogs, but I will say that where we are now, we are officially past Citra and Rowan, our 2 main characters, getting separated in their training by different size, but we still have the threat looming over their head that whoever does not get their scythedom by the end of it is going to have to glean the other, because it is a precedent and it's morbid entertainment for these scythes. So they're going to continue on with the punishment of whoever does better is going to be the scythe, whoever doesn't is going to get gleaned by whoever does better. And it's interesting to see their internal thoughts and their internal monologues and how they're going about this, because Rowan has just accepted his fate and is like, I'm not gonna glean Citra, so she's going to be the next Scythe and I am going to die. And he's kind of resigned himself to that fact, but even yet and still is living life and having finding his purpose even amidst knowing I'm going to die, but I do have purpose. And so I'm going to complete the purpose while I'm here. And then hopefully Citra is going to be able to be the one that we can all depend on to carry out in the right way this job. And so I really like that, and I am claiming him officially as my book boyfriend now, especially after everything and the descriptions. And then with Citra, we're seeing how she's like, I refuse to let either of us die, so I'm going to see what actually happened to Scythe Faraday. They were told he killed himself by throwing himself into the way of a train so that he could break the rule that they had to compete against each other and they could just go back if they wanted to, and they're released and they're free from their apprenticeship. However, the High Blade decided in his all-knowing wisdom that he was going to give them to the size that stepped up to claim these two. And at first, we think it's these two that stepped up at the same time, but it wasn't. We come to later find out there was one particular site who wanted them both for the sake of continuing on with the whole thing of, okay, we're competing against each other to the death. But then another site stepped in and took one of them out of the equation, and now they still have to battle it out to the death because morbid entertainment wins always, apparently. They were supposed to be free, and Citra is upset. She is mad, and she is using this to be like, what actually happened to Scythe Faraday? I need to figure this out because I was supposed to be set free. Y'all aren't setting me free. So now I'm butting up against the system, and I am going to deep dive into this. I'm going to find out what actually happened, because I don't believe that Scythe Faraday would do this. Even if it was to get us out of this, I don't believe that this is how this happened. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to see what actually happened to him. So we're kind of getting this like voice in the back of our head that's like, maybe he's not dead, or maybe he's not dead in the way that people say that he was. And hopefully she's hoping to get all of the evidence that is necessary to then be able to go to the High Blade and be like, this is what happened, they're terrible people, punish your size. You're starting to see how different size treat their apprentices, how they go about gleaning, what they feel about the world in general, and we're also getting journals along the way of size, and you're really starting to understand the mentality behind everything that's going on. And it's so interesting because as I'm going along, I am like, this is so wrong. This mentality is so wrong. However, I understand why people think that this is right in this world, in this context. And it's so fascinating because you can kind of see that play out in other people in our world. So you're starting to see how mortality versus immortality affects how you think about things, about your emotions, and things like that in terms of the overall picture of purpose and meaning and all of these things. And it's very interesting. And I knew that that would happen going in because I read the third book and I was very analytical about the third book. However, I am just like, oh, this is everything I missed the first time, from the point of view of escapism reader who is younger to adult, more analytical perspective, and it is so fascinating. So anyways, so that's where we are with this. And then I read a little bit more of Wondersmith, The Calling of Morrigan Crow, and poor baby needs to be protected at all costs. My goodness, can she ever catch a break? And I understand that she's not supposed to, because then we wouldn't have the story and we wouldn't be entertained, but my freaking goodness, she's going through it. Like, she went through a lot just to get into the Wondrous Society, and now a year later she is in the Wondrous Society. She's about to get inaugurated in, like they all are. I mean, they're in, but like they're having their special ceremony and she's feeling so much like family, and there's this whole procession going to be able to do the vows to each other because they are supposed to be tied together for life, bonded together for life as brothers and sisters. And then someone drops the freaking bomb of who and what she is, or what her power is rather, and everyone starts to freak out and they get so mean. And I'm just like, bro, chill. And I kind of understand where they're coming from in some senses. Like, there is something to be said for a certain thing already having a negative connotation, and then someone else having a thing that is involved in negative connotations in terms of skill or whatever, and so we're automatically just like biased against it. However, I think what we're learning here is to disassociate the skill from the person and understand that it is the person that decides if the skill is good or bad. Meanwhile, the skill is neutral and indifferent, because if the skill didn't have the person behind it and their motivations and intentions, then it would just be stagnant and it would be neutral and it wouldn't be a thing. Anywho, I'm going into depth here, but I'm just a little mad because, like, she's a kid, and what has she done? Literally, what has she done this entire time to prove that she is a menace to society, that she is evil and vindictive and malicious? If anything, all of y'all have decided that you're going to be evil and mean and vindictive and malicious for no particular purpose. And the way that they just kind of, like, all the mentors freak out and start to treat her and what they say, I'm just like, y'all need to go straight to jail. That's it. Like, all of you. Well, not all of them. Okay, there are some that I greatly appreciate. And what I love is the people that were the group that was the main, I don't even know what to even call them, but like they were the main presiders. I think that's the accurate word. The main presiders over the trials and the representatives, I guess, for that, for the ceremony, the individual ceremony that was just them, and then the mentors, and then the kids inside of the building to complete the procession and ceremony and everything in the official, like, you are a part of the Wondrous Society. Since it was only all of them, the main presiders were so chill. They were like, listen, we were the ones that said that she would be here. They were the ones that gave her the #1 spot in the show trial for literally doing nothing, because they trusted her mentor. And the other people that know Jupiter North are just like, yeah, he wouldn't have brought someone here if he thought that they were mean, malicious, vindictive, all of the bad words, right? And so those that aren't, or have some sort of chip on their friggin' shoulder, Baz, I want to just strangle, have, and the other person that I forget their name, they're so irrelevant, I forgot their name, that was just like so awful to her. And trying to get like all of the kids together. She literally said something along the lines of, you would want her to be with children? Ma'am, she is a child. Ma'am, she's probably younger than the children that are in there. You think you want her to be amongst the children? She is a dang child. Needless to say, I have the same emotionality about this book that I have about the first. So that's going to mean a great reading experience for me. That is going to mean a lot of very interesting reactions for you. However, I do want to sit with this book. That's why I'm hoping to get to this one, which I haven't even started, so I have nothing to say on this. But these are the books that I am hoping to start and finish today. That's everything so far. I need to go into work now. I do have my coffee to get me through the day. I also decided to splurge and get a breakfast sandwich as well because I need it, and also my stomach was growling. It always does this. There's always that one day at the end of the week where I'm just actually hungry for breakfast, but not enough to the point where I need breakfast every single day, so it's almost just like a one-off, like, let me just get an extra item on top of whatever I'm getting and have that be that. But I don't actually eat breakfast. Let me know in the comments, are you guys breakfast people or non-breakfast people? I know that there are people who eat breakfast, but do you eat breakfast because you want to, or do you eat breakfast because that is what is told to us that is healthy for us to do? Let me know. Asking the important questions here. Anyway, I'm gonna head into work now. I do need to get some things done for the video that I would like to do so that I can just like upload it, and while I upload it, read a little bit, and then set up and have the day start. So I'm gonna go and do that, and hopefully I'll talk to you guys on my lunch break. Hopefully. I don't know. We never know here. But I'll see you guys whenever I have something to update you guys on. Okay, bye. Hi guys, good morning. It's time for an update on reading. I have less than, I think, 80 pages left to read, but now we're into the territory of spoilers, so I will just say I love Citra and Rowan. They're dynamic. I like the way that their characters are presented, and I like the way that their characters are presented with each other. I think they're a good match for each other. They balance each other out. I think, though, Citra for me is a little... I like her, but I tentatively like her. And what I mean by that is she is a type of personality where I can so relate to the point of annoying, but like not in a bad way, but like in the way that's like, it's so annoying that we're so alike, but also you're different in the way that kind of rubs me the wrong way, because why and for what reason? Like, if you're this way in this aspect, why are you like this in this other aspect? And then also, we didn't really get a chance to have their relationship, like the actual romantic relationship, have a basis other than attraction. And even then, like, we didn't really have that. And like, I think the author is thinking that because of the situation that they're put in, that it just automatically builds more into a relationship, and it does. But here's the thing. I, as the reader, need to see it to believe it. In the sense that, like, you know, sometimes you don't need that clarification because it's already there. However, in such a vague scenario, and I will say it's vague, in such a broad scenario, you need to give me a little bit more detail. Because if it's so broad, then there are so many other conclusions that I can come to. Especially, like, me being a single female, this has a point, just work with me here. Me being a single female, I can look at it in one way, whereas if I were in a relationship, I could look at it in a different way, and in one aspect of the relationship, I'd be like, oh yeah, totally obvious, this is here and this is here, absolutely. Meanwhile, me as a single female is kind of just like, is that really how people react and behave? Is this what we're doing? Why is it so childish? Not to say that, like, flirting is childish or whatever. I'm just saying, you know, the differing perspectives. I'm just giving you guys examples. And that's only two of the thousands of ways that you can interpret things, right? Because everything can be interpreted in its own way, in its own light for the reader at hand. And for me, I just feel like it's a little bit too broad to be like, okay, simply because they're in this life-ending relationship together, automatically that means their view of each other will be more than just attraction, and like the attraction is enough because their hatred is enough. And I get that hate can instantly turn to love, but love can also instantly turn to hate because of just one wrong move, man. And apparently to Citra, Rowan has made quite a few, and to Rowan, Citra hasn't lived up to his expectations, but it's only minimal scenes, so they don't build on each other to give us a core foundation of believability. It just random scenes, and then bam, suddenly they're kissing. Spoiler alert. So when I got to that part, I was just kind of like, okay, people are just kissing. But the thing is like, it's for that didn't feel like there was any meaning behind that kiss. It just felt like, you're cute, one of us is gonna die, okay, let's kiss, versus I have grown with you in this, like, we are the only ones who know about it, and it's hinted at. That's the thing, it's so hard to criticize something that is hinted at, because you're just like, well, if it's hinted at, you should have seen the signs. Do you know how many people I've said that to about my personality? I'm just like, listen, have you seen me talk to any other person? For the sake of relationship talk, okay, when I talk to a guy who I am interested in, or when I talk to him later when he finds out that I was interested and now I no longer am, he's just like, so what about this? And I'm just like, sir, there were signs. I gave signs. Listen, I don't talk to just anybody. I don't spend so much time with people for nothing. I don't share my whole life story for nothing. And not like my whole life story, but even just my life story. Even just the fact that, you know, I come from a family that got divorced. You know, my parents got divorced in high school. Most of the people that I am around currently know that, but there are some few outlier people who I have liked who don't know that. I don't go around saying it. Because for what reason and for what purpose? Like, that holds no water unless, like, I want to build a more foundational relationship where you kind of understand why I react the way that I react. And it's like, okay, because of this, I act like this in reaction to this. So choose whether or not you're going to respond in whatever way, and I'll determine what I think of that response. And then we can either talk it out and work it out and build a relationship off of that, or we can both walk away. It's kind of like in that kind of same way. The author doesn't have to hold my hand. He doesn't have to give every single sordid detail of whatever thoughts and feelings are going on with them, but at least give a hint, because also where Rowan is now, like, they're separated. They're with different sides and under different people for apprenticeship. Even they were just like, I know you like this girl. And it's like, how though? Because from the way I see it, you saw two apprentices who were told, we need to kill each other. And they looked disgusted by the idea of killing each other, as any human should. And that was it. Which, again, didn't have a big enough basis of a foundation. It's just kind of like, we're supposed to know that they're deeply in love with each other based off of banter back and forth that would equate to flirting and trying to get to know one another on a relationship level. Both are not the same. And they're not built on the same things. Like, I need to know more. So that's where we're at with that. We're finding out a little bit more from Citra about Scythe Faraday and his death. Maybe. Possibly. We don't know. And she's gotten a chance to talk to the Thunderhead, and I have looked back over the footage and realized I've said Thunderbird. That was incorrect. Thunderhead. I don't know what I was thinking of. Possibly, quite possibly, because I was reading The Astonishing Color of After and there was a bird on the cover and birds were the theme. Maybe that's where I got Thunderbird. But Thunderhead is speaking to her, which is not okay. Like, there's a separation between Scythe and Cloud. I don't know. Scythe and State. I don't know. But the Scythes have no communication with the Thunderhead. That was easily established very early on, and now, though, he's trying to, he, as if the Thunderbird is a he, I don't know, I'll say he. Now he's trying to get a hold of Citra and be like, okay, I can answer things in as much as I think you will be able to figure out on your own. I'm just helping you kind of get the pieces a little quicker, you know, to the entire puzzle that is this whole circus. So she's asking questions, she's finding things out, and she's just like, there's more going on here. And so she's going to try and find that out. She thinks it all has to do with Scythe Faraday. There's more going on to the corruption, and there's more of an answer than just finding out what happened to Scythe Faraday. So she's very focused on things and just like laser beams onto certain focuses. And it's like, ma'am, you're gonna have to step outside of that laser focus for just like 0.2 seconds just to kind of understand that maybe there are other things at play here. Maybe you can understand how Rowan is acting the way he's acting, why he suddenly flipped a switch on you. Like, come on. Come on, girl, you're smart. You are smart. Use it, please. So don't worry, but she's a child. She's getting there. It's okay. So that's what's happening on her end with Rowan. He's kind of just with Scythe Goddard, and he is, he's learning some things he does not want to. And he is now of the belief that I'm gonna die. He's gonna throw this contest. And he's gonna throw it in the way that doesn't have anyone suspecting him, and while he is doing so, he is training still. He is putting in the effort, and he is getting all of the observations. He's making allies. He's doing all of the right things, and it makes me think, oh, don't you just see that you're, like, so much there? Like, don't you see? You are a good choice. Like, you should be the next Scythe. Not to say that Citra isn't, but I feel like Citra has such a narrow focus that it's going to be, I don't know, like, I thought this before, I'll think this again. I think Rowan is the better choice. I do. And not just because he's my book boyfriend, but, like, actually he is the better choice because he has the observational skills to read a room and to read people, to notice things, to piece things together. He has the physical backing of training, resilience, endurance. He does know how to strategize. He does have compassion. He has all of the makings of a good Scythe, and it bugs me that it's so focused on Citra at this moment being the next Scythe, because he really does have everything that it does take, and people not seeing that, or people very quickly judging things just because of a circumstance that he had no control over. He had no control of going under Scythe Goddard, not even in the slightest, and no one tried to save him. They saved Citra. They did not save him, and that bugs me. That bugs me so much, because, like, why? What? Equal opportunity, man. Equal opportunity. I mean, Citra stood out to a few people. Okay, good. So did Rowan. And listen, he's over here knowing things and getting information. Don't you want to save that? Someone who could do that really quickly before he gets, like, ingrained in some sort of cult-like mindset? I don't know, just me. So I'm gonna get a fair bit of the way here now before I head in, and then I will let you guys know my thoughts later on, but I'm gonna be finishing this book first, and then I'll let you guys know my thoughts. Okay, bye. Hi guys, it is Monday, and you guys, we have some updates to share today. The first being, I finished a book. Yay! I finished Scythe by Neil Schusterman, and I gave it a 5-star. I read it before and I gave it a 5-star, and I read it again and I gave it a 5-star because I just love this world. Also, I have my new book boyfriend, and I unfortunately know that that is a bonus prompt thing for another team's prompts. However, I do think one of the characters did have a secret, a pretty big one, so still works for my team. I do want to kind of give my ending thoughts on that book and just say, it was good then, it's good now. The content is evergreen, I feel. And I really like how this world is set up, how the characters are rounded out, and how everything makes sense to the plots and all of the different devices that were used, the foreshadowing, the little twists that were tried to be had in there. I think it all worked. I think the discussion surrounding the world and the bigger picture of the world was handled very well through the monologue of the characters and through different dialogue between characters as well. I don't think it was overly preachy, so I think it was really, really good, and I really, really recommend this book. And I don't want to say too much on it because I know I was getting into spoilery territory already with the last update. Bruh, now that I finished the book, I'm gonna get into spoilery territory now, so I'm not even gonna try. It was brought to my attention that I needed to immediately pick up Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. So instead of the wheel generator doing its thing, I'm just gonna start reading this. Literally all I know about this book is that there are dragons that are involved and dragon riders, and that's literally it. Also that the cover is gorgeous, so are the sides, and let's just read the back of the book to see what this is actually about, shall we? A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. Noted. Article 1, Section 1, the Dragon Riders Codex. Ooh, there's a codex. So this is gonna be good regardless because this author has sat down with this world. Actually, let me not speak too soon because the author could live in the world and write it terribly. I have faith in book talk. I have to, for my own sanity. Okay, let's continue though. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the English, Maya, use it. Let's try this again. 20-year-old Violet Sorrengail was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. I love that. Maybe not the history part. Now, the commanding general, also known as her toughest talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre? Dragon Riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away. Because dragons don't bond to fragile, quote unquote, humans, they incinerate them. I feel like I can relate to this girl on a personal level, but let's continue reading anyways. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter. Like Xaden Ryerson, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly. The kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Friends, enemies, lovers, everyone at Basgaith War College has an agenda because once you enter, there are only two ways out. Graduate or die. I have many thoughts. First, let's say how amazing that sounds. Okay, I love that. But second, to the mom, why? Why would you put your daughter through, listen, I know that there are, stick with me here, I know that there are toxic parents out there who somehow think that their kid's success and taking on of your name and your abilities and then going above and beyond is an ego boost for you, and that is toxic, would do something like that for their kids' academics and stuff, or high standing in society or whatever. But your child could literally die. So you're saying that your ego, your name, your legacy, that is gonna get quickly cut off if she does, is above your actual daughter? I'm thinking I don't like you, ma'am. Second, or I guess third, because the first thing was I love the thing, is why does this sound so much like a deadly education? And why am I so terrified? Actually, I know the answer. Let me tell you why. Because I hated, that might be a little strong. I strongly disliked a deadly education. If you guys want to see the video that I made on that, feel free to do so. That video could use more traction. Anywho, me being the most obnoxious YouTuber in existence. That was a joke, okay? You literally don't have to watch it. I won't even link that video in the description. That's how much I do not care and was totally joking. I do have to make reference to that video because, I disliked it so much, I made it a video. And the thing was, I didn't want to dislike it. And I said in that video time and time again, I don't want to dislike this. I want there to be some sort of turnaround in the writing, in the plot, in the intrigue, in the something. It kept me intrigued enough, but it wasn't it was the kind of intrigue that was this has to get better. Not, I am invested in the plot, therefore I'm willing to overlook certain, shall we say, technical writing techniques. It wasn't even that. It was literally just, this has to get better. That's why I kept reading, because I'm like, this is gonna get better, right? This is gonna get better. It's gonna get better. No, it didn't. Yeah, that was a timing thing. So I am very intrigued by this. Also, I just happened to, when I got the passionate response that I had to immediately read this book, the first thing that I did was I looked at the beginning. The map is gorgeous, so we love that. Then there was this, so like a layout of where we're going to be located. So not only the map of the world, but where in particular we are located. And then I read this part, which was on the back of the book, but I didn't notice that. I read this part. A dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. Article 1, Section 1, the Dragon Rider's Codex, before Chapter 1. And I was immediately like, oh, this is gonna be good. It has a codex and everything. Ooh, okay, hold up. The following text has been faithfully transcribed from Navarian into the modern language by Jacinia Neilwort, curator of the Scribe Quadrant at Basgaith War College. All events are true, and names have been preserved to honor the courage of those fallen. May their souls be commended to Malik. Okay, so there's a lot going on here, and clearly the world has been exceptionally well set up, and I'm saying this for my own sanity yet again, because I feel like if you put so much work into a map, into the world, into an entire thing that you have to write outside of the book, and the book only gets a couple of paragraphs for the pages or booklet that is this codex, then you know that the author is serious, the author has spent time in this world. Again, it doesn't really translate to the author knows how to write about this world. However, it does mean that whatever is written down is likely to have some form of substance, and I greatly appreciate that. So that is a book that we are going to be starting today. Another book that I'm hoping to get to this week, because at this point, let's just be real, I'm not going to do the wheel generator because half of the books I've already gone through. I'm getting rid of one. Some were not recommended. I just really want to get to my favorites and really try and commit to getting more books read, mostly for the sake of I just want to equally attack all of the families and then set my family up for success, and then I'm good. I just need 4 books. I've already done 2. I think I can do 2 more. Famous last words, I'm well aware. But to help me in my endeavor, 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson is a must. And then I think, you know, I'm torn because I have 3 options here. And I want to save 3 books for like next week as well. Like the little mini TBRs every week I'm kind of loving. But I'm very torn between the Zodiac Academy, Pet Cemetery, and The House on the Cerulean Sea. This is, for all intents and purposes, I think one of the smaller ones. But like, Pet Cemetery also is. But I really, really, really want to start Zodiac Academy just because I see everyone reading this. And they're reading it in like a week. And they have jobs, 9-to-5 jobs, and they're like doing other things and being productive, but finishing this within a week. And look at this chunker. I mean, it's not as big as probably some of the other ones, but like, I want to read, oh, okay, that changes things. Let me look at the writing. Oh, yep, okay, that's out. Pet Cemetery, yep, okay, nope, we're doing the Zodiac Academy. 9 Liars by Maureen Johnson is a continuation of the Truly Devious series, and I'm pretty sure this is its own separate thing, separate from the mini trilogy at the beginning for the Ellingham case, and then the 4th book, which was The Box in the Woods, it was its own separate case where they were at a summer camp basically, and they still haven't yet gone back to the school for their 2nd and final year, and I think this is their 2nd and final year, but like, I don't know if it's the full thing or if there's another book after this. I need to look at that. And then Zodiac Academy by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valentini is a book about two sisters who have basically lived in poverty and are offered this chance to go to this academy, and at the end of it are promised a throne and money, and they're like, we kind of need that. So they're going to go through this academy, and we later learn that there are some men who are promised the throne, think they're going to have the throne, but then they realize, oh, these two are the heirs, and they know they are, although the heirs themselves don't know that they're the heirs, and they're just really just trying to survive out here and just get the money more than get the throne. They just think that's like cherries on top of the cake or something. And so the guys are trying to get them to drop out so that at the end of it, they don't get the throne and learn that they are the actual true heirs and kick them off their promised throne. So this is gonna be great. I have a feeling I'm gonna like this. So yeah, today though, we are going to be starting with Fourth Wing, and I will start this right after I go to my mentoring session. I literally am just filming this clip right before I am heading out to go do that. Then I'm also going to go to Whole Foods to drop off 2 things that I need to return to Amazon, and then after that, then I'll be back here and hopefully reading for the rest of the night, because I tried editing today and I tried to do other things, and literally all I could do was cook and finish like half of the video, and I'm just like, I can't. But you know what? It's my short work week, so I'll be able to get more done later, and who knows, I might have an energy boost afterwards. Not entirely sure. I do have a monster in the fridge, so we're gonna consume that when we get back. Not right now, but when we get back, and then yeah, that's all I have to update you guys on. So yeah, we have attacked another family because I did finish another book. So I remembered we attacked the stags first, then we attacked the monarchs, and now we're going to attack the stingers last but certainly not least. And any other book after this, any other book is going to immediately go to my family for extra points, because as much as I would love to attack, I want to attack equally, and I'm just a slow reader. I'm not gonna get that many books. So I have done all of my attacking, and now I am ready to end out the readathon with points for my house. But I need to get one more in for the final family attack, and then we're gonna rack up some points for our team. Okay? Okay. Sounds like a good plan. Catch you guys in the next reading update. Hello. Welcome to another reading update. I say it as it's in the same video. Like, all I feel like I'm doing this week is reading updates, and I thought that I wouldn't. I thought I would get more action footage, so to speak, of this week, but y'all, I have just been like in such an interesting type of mood since Saturday. That's not even counting the emotional anything that has been happening behind the scenes and other stuff, and yeah, it's just been a time. But let's just say I've been in an interesting mood, but I've been trying to vlog as much as possible on my thoughts on the books, and that has been putting me in a happier mood to get out of said mood. Which is not even like a bad mood, it's just like it's almost like a numb mood, which is almost arguably even worse than if I were in a mood, because at least I would be feeling something. Right now I'm feeling nothing. So in order to feel something, I started reading a little bit of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, and I have some thoughts. So I know I did a clip of me talking about what this book was. Replay what I said about the mom. To the mom, why? Why would you put your daughter through, like, listen, I know that there are, stick with me here, I know that there are toxic parents out there who somehow think that their kids' success and taking on of your name and your abilities and then going above and beyond is an ego boost for you, and that is toxic, would do something like that for their kids' academics and stuff, or high standing in society or whatever. But like, your child could literally die. So you're saying that your ego, your name, your legacy, that is going to get quickly cut off if she does, is above your actual daughter? I'm thinking I don't like you, ma'am. Can I just say, my instincts were correct. Screw this mother. Okay. She might be endeared to me. However, just from chapter 1 alone, I'm past that. I finished the first 2 chapters. Already in 1 chapter, let me do a little breakdown for you. In 1 chapter, we have weird family dynamics, aka a terrible mom, an overprotective sister, and 2 dead individuals of the family, creating an interesting dynamic amongst the surviving family members. We have a death, already a death, and this girl's life is at stake, and no one seems to be able to care and or help her. Now let me tell you about chapter 2. Guess what? For chapter 2, we have another death already. 2 enemies who literally have vitriolic hate. And I'm not talking just like your enemy that is like, oh, secret lover about to turn to be, although one of them probably could be. I am sensing setup already. Well, and the back of the book says as much, but I'm already sensing the setup, and a believable setup as well. However, in this moment, it is enemy, and there is a deep-seated hatred on both sides, and both have had loss of family members because of the other family. I don't think that's spoilers. That's literally within the first 2 chapters. I highly doubt that's spoilery at all. And almost cutting off of someone's genitals. So that's exactly what has been happening in the first 2 chapters. I'm like, okay, I can vibe. I can vibe with this. I'm now wondering about the dragons themselves and the other mythical creatures in this world, just because based off of what I've heard of this world so far, it feels like it's ruled by mythical creatures, or at least not ruled, but like in heavy alliance of mythical creature and human, 4 different realms. And I'm kind of here for it and invested in it, although I don't know if my initial perception of this world is accurate, because there are 4 specific realms that were mentioned. Well, maybe not realms, might not be the right word, provinces that were mentioned, led by different people, right? But 2 of them didn't sound like they had anything other than magical elements that they worked with because of natural resources. Only 2 seem to have mythical creature alliances. Like, I'm hearing griffin riders, and I'm not sure if they mean like actual griffin mythical creatures, or if it's just like some sort of homage to these mythical creatures because they have dragons. I mean, it would make sense, but that also puts a picture in my mind of like a feud between 2 separate realms, empires, provinces, whatever you want to call it, with different mythical creatures who are arguably very powerful in their own right, but it almost wouldn't seem like there would be such a bad, like, I don't know, like, I don't know, because, like, I'm picturing these two mythical creatures forming alliances with humans to create stronger empires, realms, provinces, whatever. And I'm seeing a battle for control with that happening, and I'm starting to believe that. However, I don't know if that is an actual fact, because, like, I know we talk about dragons here, that's what this book is known for, but are there also griffins in here? Like other magical creatures and other magical entities? Because it would make sense then why dragons would ally with humans to gain control over an uprising sort of power if, say, another mythical creature who was also quite powerful could ally themselves with humans and have more of an advantage over a common enemy. So that kind of makes sense in my head, but I'm not entirely sure. However, I'm also intrigued and interested in the story of our main character, Violet, and her family dynamic is just so it's just so interesting. Violet Sorrengail, man, she God bless her, she's 20 and she is sick and fragile and weak, and that's not conducive to the world that she's living in. However, her mother, who just has such a legendary what's it called? A legendary, I'm forgetting the word, but like has such a legendary, who is legend in the world. Her mother is such a legend in this world, and her brother kind of followed in her mother's footsteps, but was, we later learn, was taken down and killed in combat. And then the second child was also like their mother, very skilled, very talented, still very much alive. And then there was the daughter who was like the father, who was a scribe, and apparently scribes are considered the weakest of the quadrants, of the 4 quadrants, and the dragon riders are the strongest. Being that her mom has such legendary status in this world, and her sister is very easily following in her footsteps, no other surviving family members, the mother is like, you're not going to be a scribe. No daughter of mine is going to be a scribe. And Violet is just like, but I'm also my father's daughter. He was a scribe. So you're saying that that's more demeaning than to be a dragon rider. And she basically is proven correct in that assumption about her mother with the way that her mother acts and responds. And I'm just like, I'm sitting here thinking, ma'am, what is happening? Like, so you would actually rather your daughter, who is sick, literally sick, she is not just weaker by build or by interest, literally physically sick. We don't know necessarily with what yet, we weren't told, but just the basic symptoms is apparently like she experiences pain all the time, breathing is harder for her, and she literally just doesn't have a lot of strength. However, because of just her natural upbringing, because her mother is who she was, obviously she has some skill in mind and strategy, and also just in speed. Like, what she lacks in strength, she makes up for in speed, for sure, is what we are told through her. And it was actually proven through tests to be able to get into this rider's quadrant just in general. So when we meet her, she is very much sick, but her mother is still forcing her to compete in this, and her mother is very well aware that she could die literally before even starting, because initiation, it's kind of giving Dauntless initiation, but like on steroids. To be fair, like you gotta have certain capabilities and strengths and physical prowess in order to do what we do. So it's a kindness to just eliminate you right away. At least there, not many die. or did die. If you do die, it's most often, you know, your own choices and not smart actions, shall we say. But here, legit, there is a death toll every single year, and not in single digits of percentages of these candidates. It's literally known. A fair few candidates are just always gonna die. They have people at the ready to record your name before going through the initiation phase and afterwards on your first day before you even enter the academy, because they know that you're gonna die. How fun! How fun! And that's not even including the people who will legitimately actually try to murder you in the initiation because they don't want a weak link, or someone who they perceive to be a weak link. Talk about a fictional world I would not survive in. For as much as I think it would be fun to ride a dragon, it's not worth it. Initiation ain't worth it. And it isn't for Violet either. And she keeps trying to say all of this, but her mother doesn't listen, and she's being forced to. I mean, she is 20, so technically, is she legally an adult? Yes, but does that really apply to a world like this? Actually, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Her mother is going to make her do these trials or know the reason why, and her mother is legendary for not showing mercy. And that applies to family members, as we very much quickly learn. So that's where we're at in this, and I'm excited. I'm here for it. I already see the setup for a good, believable, slightly toxic romance, and I'm kind of here for it. I'm here for the romance. I'm here for the enemies to lovers that I am predicting. I'm here for strong female forward characters. I am here for surprises. I am here for dragons. I am here for blood and death. I'm kind of okay with it. I was a little bit shocked about how it went down, but now that I'm kind of aware of the world and that there are people that are just gonna be dying left, right, and center, I can like gear my mind towards, okay, that's gonna happen, and then it not be too much of a thing. And it's actually not like, it's not making me not like it. So I typically like having meanings for deaths usually, but also if it's already established in the world that this is a thing that happens and it's a voluntary type of thing. Not that I'm saying that people are voluntarily dying, but they're signing up for this voluntarily, knowing that they can. It's less of a barrier for me to hop over, to accept that there's just going to be a lot of death seemingly for no reason, in the interest of having a plot further on and continue and establishing a world where this happens and not shying away from that. So if it's in the interest of explaining the world, I'm good with it. I am. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but that's kind of the update, and cheers to another good reading session. Hopefully we'll get one in before I decide I am ready to eat dinner and figure out what I'm gonna do with the rest of the night. So cheers. Okay, I get it now. So the whole thing about the dragons and the humans having some sort of alliance is actually accurate. I didn't know why that was actually necessary, but she says it right here. She says, if they didn't need us puny humans to develop signet abilities from bonding and weave the protective wards they power around Navarre, I'm pretty sure they'd eat us all and be done. But they like protecting the Vale, the valley behind Basgaith, the dragons call home, from merciless griffins, and we like living. So here we are in the most unlikely of partnerships. Although I am kind of wondering, because like, I know that dragons are powerful and griffins are also powerful in their own right, but something tells me like there's more going on And like the one realm for the Griffins are allies with humans, probably for a similar reason, for the battle between the Griffins and the dragons. But I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't dragons win anyway? Like, wouldn't they not need human intervention? Like, I mean, apex predators will be apex predators. Like, they won't completely destroy each other necessarily. But I feel like dragons are maybe more powerful than griffins. Don't come for me too hard. Like, I'm wondering why that alliance is obviously necessary, because the dragons are giving humans powers to be able to make wards against something that arguably they are more powerful than. So what is the point of allying with humans then, unless just to save more of their kind? But I feel like they would still, despite the losses, have the victory, at least of the land that they want. Would they not, like, am I overthinking the premise too hard? The answer is always yes. But I don't know. I just feel like the humans are not necessary unless somehow it came to be that the Griffins partnered with the humans and somehow were able to, through a bond of whatever, through the magical system, be able to give them certain powers that were able to kind of surprise attack and start to maybe even get just as powerful, if not more powerful than dragons, and give them a leg up, thereby making the dragons need a leg up by also allying with humans. I am so confused. I am very intrigued. We're into the 3rd chapter and we're already introduced to another character who Violet knows from her childhood, Dane. And he's also one of the commanders and one of the special people in the Rider Quadrant Academy thing that she's going to. Blazegate? What's the name? Basgeith College? Yeah, we're introduced to a 3rd character now, and he's a childhood friend, so I am predicting, my first thought is love triangle, but I could totally be completely wrong, and this guy could be the actual love interest, and then the other guy who has such a hatred for her and her family is literally just the enemy. However, we also have another character that literally is just the enemy, so I highly doubt that the guy that is supposed to be her enemy is her actual enemy. Like, I think he will be. I think he's gonna cause some damage. I think he's gonna cause some chaos, but I think he's gonna turn it around. I'm okay. Guesses for the romance. It's gonna be a love triangle. It's gonna be a slow burn, and it's gonna be the enemies to lovers endgame. Don't tell me if I'm right in the comments, because I like the way that this is written, so I'm probably gonna go through the other series as well. Consider my thoughts expressed. Now back to more reading. Okay, reading update. The Griffins do have the power to transfer their powers to humans. However, it is only the dragons that have the capability of forming the wards, which again, with the alliance of the humans and making the magic and them being able to put up the wards, which again just makes me think, does that not then mean that they are the superior species to the Griffins? And does that not then mean that they can just literally not have the need for humans at all? So why are humans even in existence if these powerful creatures can just fight it out with each other, or even exist somewhere else separate from all of this that's going on? And I'm not mad about it. Like, I love the setup. I love that we get it explained. I love that there is logic to the world that is present. but it's still just the overarching question of the which this world was founded. And maybe again, maybe I'm looking too much into this, as always, but I just feel like if that were indeed the case, what is the reason? Why do dragons and griffins form bonds with humans if there is limitation regardless on them, and if those limitations still give the same result? Because griffins are powerful, don't get me wrong, but I just really have a hard time believing that they would overthrow the reign and rule of dragons. They would always probably try because, again, predator and predator, they want to like be the top. But even yet and still, I feel like that overarching point is just going to drive me absolutely crazy. And it's not the fault of the author, not at all whatsoever. The world is great, it's established, it has the answers, it has the logic to that world, but for some reason my mind just can't get over the two battling powers and the need for humans when the restrictions that are put on the allied powers of the dragons and humans versus the dragons and griffins still equate to the same result. Like, I mean, it's a good backdrop for the story, but I'm gonna be looking just in every single book until I get this answer. I'm gonna be looking for the reasons why these griffins think that they can somehow beat these dragons, unless there's something about dragons that just inherently can have some weakness where the griffins have the upper hand of strength. And maybe this is on me and my lack of knowledge about mythical creatures, but it just does not make that much sense. I need to just chill. That's what needs to happen. I mean, like, I've been chilling all day, but like, I need to literally just chill and not have my mind racing, but we'll see what happens. I do like the story. I'm definitely gonna read more of it tonight. Don't know if I'm gonna update you guys anymore tonight, but I feel like I've done quite a bit of interaction today with y'all, and so I feel justified in, if I don't pick up the camera to tell you guys more of my thoughts, should I pick up this book, then that's okay. So see you guys in the next update. That's more than likely not gonna be tonight. Hi guys, good morning. I have an update to end all updates. No, just kidding. I need coffee before this update. Okay, we're good. We're waking up. It's always after the first couple of sips where I'm just like, I can be a human being, I can function. I have a reading update for y'all for today. I have been making quite steady progress, and we all know that means aka slow progress on Fourth Wing, not because I don't like it, but because I am so in love with it that I find myself even slowing myself down reading everything so I can retain all of the information, because there's a lot of information actually that should be retained from this book. I feel like, I don't know, maybe I'll later learn that I didn't need to retain that much. However, I feel like all of the information is necessary for the world building, and I'm liking the world that I'm seeing, and it's really hard for me to picture a world in my head, or even the characters in my head. I just often read a story, have vague outlines of things, and then I can be put into a world through the use of the medium of movie or TV show or whatever. And I don't find myself often getting disappointed because of that. So I don't know if it's like some sort of psyche buildup from my childhood years or whatever, but oftentimes when I read characters or I read worlds and I say that they're really good, it's mostly the makeup and the reasoning of how things are. And then sometimes I do need to see at least spatially where things are happening. So sometimes I like a little bit more added detail, but even still I can't see like a detailed full-on room. It's just like vague outline, miniature detail that you actually need to focus on because of the story. So I am having a lot of fun with this world because I am actually gaining a picture of what this world is in my head, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna share that picture because I don't want to be wrong on the internet. I don't even know if I would know how to describe this world, but it just feels more concrete, more real. And listen, all I know of Fourth Wing is everything that I've seen online. So like Book Talk, BookTube. I've heard people talking about it and talking about what this is, but I never like looked into the genres or anything, but it's feeling a little grown up in its writing. Not necessarily by any means in style or technique that feels different than other books or like more elevated or something like that, although in some books that is the case. But I mean, just it feels, the content itself feels more adult. So is this like a more adult fantasy versus YA fantasy? Because it's reading a little bit more grown up, and I kind of like that, to be honest, because I now just got into my mid-20s. Like, I'm 24. I literally hit mid-20s the second I turned 24. And while I enjoy a good fantasy world, a good contemporary world, I might like the adult world now. I have to say, love our main character, love our side characters, honestly, too. I'm really loving, I think her name is Rhiannon, I think is her name. Loving her. Loving our supposed enemy. I feel like all our characters are being rounded out and fleshed out and giving more personality, and everything that you think is going to be typical for like a typical enemy or a typical enemies to lovers or a typical best friends to lovers situation. No, like it's so different than what you expect in all the right ways that hit and make sense, to where I think my prediction is gonna be completely accurate, but I don't think it's accurate in the way that I was thinking it was gonna happen, because here I am thinking that our main character and the two guys that seems to be love interests, one a best friend from her past and the other literally a sworn enemy, wants to kill her because of her mom and what her mom did to his family, even though his family did something to her family, so technically they should be equal. Technically, but listen, anyone would have tension if people killed people on either one's families, okay? So I can't really fault them for like having a warring personality, right? But sometimes that warring personality can get a little too close, shall we say. So I thought that that was kind of gonna be what is happening, and it kind of is, but it's happening in a way that I like. I'm liking that, even though clearly there's stuff going on with them that it's like, it takes a back seat to whatever is happening. I love it when that happens, because yes, romance can be involved in pretty much anything. I think we all know that, but the fact that it's playing out in this way, I like it a lot, because that means that, you know, we are focusing on the things that are kind of important. Like, yes, romance is fun and cute and we love it. However, it shouldn't supersede something that's literally life or death. It doesn't mean that you're robots. It doesn't mean that you can't feel. It doesn't mean that you don't have that attraction, which is clear throughout this book. Like, there's a lot of romantic attraction, physical, personality, like long-term, short-term, one-night stands. There's that going on, okay? But that's because they understand that what it is that they do is like, they could be dead the next day, so they're taking pleasure overall. But what I just mean by that though is that it's not the focal point. It's not the main focus. When it is the focus, it's fun, it's cute, it's bantery, but it doesn't last longer than it needs to for the sake of what is going on behind the scenes, which is literally your life could be ended at any moment and no one is going to get repercussions for it as long as it fits within the law that was already established. So that's fun. So while all of that is going on, yes, there are romances and alliances and things like that, and it's fun, it's cute, it's believable, I love it. And so I'm really liking our main characters, I'm loving our interests, I'm hating, okay, let me rephrase that. I'm hating our enemy, like the actual enemy, but I am kind of here loving it because he's written in a way that makes me hate it. And I appreciate that. The enemy who's bound to turn love interest, very complex, has a lot of history and backstory, and you feel that radiating off of him just in every single interaction. Same with our main character, Violet. You feel that. And it's great and it's beautiful. Then with the other guy, because I feel like I'm mentioning this guy so much, but I think it's just because I know that they're gonna be endgame, that I'm not too overly worried about this guy. Plus this other guy, he just doesn't know what he's doing, man. Bless his little heart. But he has a past also with Violet, and he's very protective. He's very big brother. He's very jealous, possessive, lover type vibe, while also maintaining, no, we're just friends. Sure, we believe that, son. Listen, I've had my fair share of guys where I have had relationships with them, and I don't mean like romantic relationships, just relationships in general, where, you know, there was clearly more going on there. And then someone would ask them like, oh, are you two together? And even though we weren't together officially or anything, they pull out the, no, we're just friends card. And I'm just like, bruh, friends don't just do this. Come on now, be smarter than that. Also be smart enough to know that, hey, I allowed that to continue. I'm not an idiot. I know when I am being flirted with. I know when I am special to someone. It's inherent. People know and recognize when they feel special to someone. We often gravitate towards the one that we feel special to. I was clearly okay with that. And then you bring out, oh no, we're just friends card. Thanks for the friend zone, bud. Good to know. Stop what you're doing, or here, I'll help you stop. Because sometimes they don't know what they're doing. They truly just don't know what they're doing. So sometimes I do it for them. I stop certain things for them, and I'm like, yeah, nope, boundary, because no, do that to the one that you actually want to date, please, and thank you. I am very happy to see it written so well. You know, even though it's kind of just like, dude, what you doing? It's at least like, wow, this is so believable. I kind of like it. I like the banter. I like the interactions. I like sitting with the characters and their interactions and like being able to, in my mind, just see everything that is happening. I don't do that with books often. And now we're going to move on to Silk by Caitlin R. Kiernan. They are young misfits, society's cast-offs. Urban strays looking for a thrill. Now I like that. Urban strays indicates that this could have an urban setting, and I love that for Realmathon because one of the prompts is urban setting. Cheers. Now just hide a secret as well and we're golden. Something cheap. Anything to get them through the night. Sleepwalking on caffeine, nicotine, and drugs, they wait out the dawn in death rock clubs and shadowy back alleys. Into their midst comes the enigmatic Spider, S-P-Y-D-E-R, a patron saint of the alienated and lost. She invites them into her mesmerizing world of ritual and ceremony, blood and fire, a realm of vengeful gods, of exiled spirits harboring the dark secrets of hell, secrets, there we go, and the darker secrets of heaven. Is she their guardian angel come to force them to face their greatest fears even as she battles to save their ravaged souls? Or a much more terrifying force sent not to redeem, but to destroy? Ooh, look at that, some accolades. Winner of the International Horror Guild Award for Best First Novel. Oh my goodness, this is a debut. Ooh, I love that. Okay, finalist for the Bram Stoker Award for Best First Novel. Oh, like I didn't read that actually. That's the first time I'm reading that. I read all of this. I was like, I am getting very much culty vibes and like the spiritualism of heaven and hell, obviously. So I was very intrigued by that, and I was just like, oh, this is good. So I'm just gonna pick it up. I'm gonna love this. Also, this is slightly shorter, so I think I'll probably be able to get through it. Yeah, I do want to start this today, and I do want to work on a little bit more of Fourth Wing, so we'll see what happens, but wish me luck. Go Ravens, and yeah, let's just have a great day today. I hope you guys are having a great day, or will be having a great day, or did have a great day, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next update. Hi guys. So that moment when you are extremely self-conscious because even though you're vlogging in your car, your windows are down, so literally almost anyone could hear you because you are practically screaming at the device to make sure it picks up your audio because you accidentally might have spilled your soda in such a way that it was sitting in the puddle of soda until you realized that it was sitting in a puddle of soda, and then you looked down and you were like, oh, okay. I think I caught it just in time, but you know, my phone has been through so much at this point, and it has stayed with a cracked screen for so long that I just predict something is about to happen to it very, very soon, and that's unfortunate because I just paid it off, much like my car that I literally just paid off. So something's gonna happen sometime soon, and it's gonna be fine, just fine. Anyways, that's beside the point. Hi guys, good morning. I have a reading update for y'all. Sorry, you got a lot of life stuff in there, but now we're back. We're to the topic of the video, which is reading, obviously, right? So yesterday I started reading a little bit of Silk, and I am currently 21 pages in, 22 pages in, and I have no idea what I'm reading. Like, I've read the back of the book to you guys for the summary, and then I read the prologue scene because I'm trying to get all of the pages for Realmathon, correct? So we're reading all of the pages. And I was getting a vague idea about the world that we're in. And then we get to chapter 1, which is the POV of someone completely different whose name we have not heard of yet. And there were quite a fair list of names already in the prologue scene, and I am so confused. Also, reading about this world from the prologue plus first chapter a little bit into the second, I'm over here wondering what time frame we're in because it feels modern world. It does. So I'm like, is this sci-fi? Like, is this futuristic? Is this more present day-esque but like a different take? Is this in the past? Because there are references to some things where I'm just like, this feels very much like this was aggressive. Not the book, whatever was happening back there, but I just felt like I was trying to find out what world we were living in more so than I was reading the details of the story, but I was also like internalizing and comprehending the story. So I was like, okay, I'm getting the story, I'm getting the world, I'm confused by the world, I'm confused by the story. Who are we talking about here? Why are these people important? And why are we following along this storyline at all? Because this makes zero sense. Even though the back of the book would help it to make sense, it just doesn't make sense. However, I'm here for it. I'm here to find out what is going on. It's just too early. right? It's too early to know or to have anything of substance, but usually, even within the first couple of chapters, I have something to say about the world and the setup and the characters. I got nothing on this one. And it's not like negatively. It's not that I don't have anything to say and that's a negative thing. I'm still very much intrigued and I'm still going to read it. I'm just very confused. That's what's going on here. Hoping to read a little bit more of that. Hoping to get to Fourth Wing. I'm thinking of softly DNFing this book for this month and just starting over again and rereading it for next month, because I really want to sit with this book and I really want to be with the characters and with the world. And I feel like when I started this, it was during the 48-hour readathon challenge, and I thought, because I can read really fast through this world and I like everything that's going on and I'm entertained, like I could attempt to try and read this in the 48 hours. That did not happen, and also I don't want it to happen like that. I want to be able to sit with this world and just glean everything from it and have that experience of the first time. So I am softly DNFing it. I am also taking out where I was so that I can start over. Oh, look at that, there's my memory verse. So I can start over and really enjoy this experience. Not that I don't want to sit down and enjoy every single reading experience, or that I'm trying to just like get through it for the points or anything, but there are some books that just read faster for me, and for this one, it reads fast in that I read it fast, but I like to sit down and stay with it and to interrupt my reading to sit with the world a little bit more and to sit with the characters and really sit with my thoughts and be able to articulate them and formulate an opinion on them. So yeah, I'm gonna softly DNF this for this month, and it is no longer on my list of TBR sources. I am looking over here and I'm seeing another book though, Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I think also I'm going to take this off of the TBR for this month because I want to sit with it and really remember the world and its characters so that I can give my best analysis and then be able to then go into the Crooked Kingdom with the world and its characters and just the most that I can glean from that world as well, because both of those are, well, because Six of Crows is a 5-star, or was a 5-star. Now I'm going to reread and see if it still lives up to the 5-star. And Wondersmith is the second book in a series that I just absolutely loved and gave 5 stars to, no question. I was like, Jessica Townsend may be that author that I know I'm going to give 5 stars to with 0 questions, much like Sarah Penner. And Sarah Penner has not proven me wrong once, and I am very excited about that. I also have a book of hers that is on pre-order for when it comes out to deliver to me from Amazon. So yeah, we're just we're getting all of the 5-star experiences on my favorite authors coming up here soon. I am planning to read a little bit more, and hopefully I will have more things to say next week, because I am ending the vlog here. I am so sorry, but it's that time again. We need to get the video uploaded. We need to keep the content on its trajectory here. We've been doing really good with the Wednesday, Saturday uploads, and we're not stopping now, guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will leave the stats at the very end of this little update here so that you can see what actually went down and the total pages even before I let you guys know next week. But I've been having so much fun, and I can't wait to have one more week of reading amazing books and talking with you guys about them. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys like stuff like this, feel free to leave a like. Remember to check out all of my peoples in the description box, and by my peoples I mean Covers with Cassidy, our OG creator for this readathon, also my team leads, Books with Lexi and Leandra at the TBR Zero. Go check them out, go subscribe to them, go turn on their notifications so you can get notified of all their content. They are amazing creators, very bingeable, very fun to watch, and I really appreciate their content. It has really brightened my days, and I know it'll brighten yours. So thank you guys so much for watching yet again, and thank you guys so much for being the best bookish bestie that ever was, is, or ever will be. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.